This past week, at least on 3 occasions, and probably more than that, I failed in my communication. And when that happens, I get very, very frustrated. And I go back to the drawing board and say, what in the world is going on? And the only common denominator in all 3 of those situations was me. So I had to reassess how I was communicating. And I learned this valuable lesson many years ago when we did some personality assessments within our organization, is that people really communicate on 3 different levels. There's verbal, visual, and written. And each of us have a strength that we'll fall into when it comes to that communication type. And for many of you, if you're watching this video, then you're probably very strong in the verbal and the visual because this works well for you. And that's the way that I communicate. That's the way that I receive information the best. I'm very weak in my written form of communication. But there's a lot of people in my world that are very strong in their written communication. So the lesson from all this, and the challenge really for all of this, is to be an effective communicator as an effective leader. You have to realize that you can not communicate only one way. You have to hit on all 3 of those levels: written, verbal, and visual. And if you're weak in those other areas, then you have to work to make yourself stronger in those. An excuse of "that's not the way I communicate" is not an excuse or a reason to be a poor communicator as a leader. So, with that said, the challenge for this week for all of us, and really this is a challenge for myself, is to really hone back in and focus back in on honing my skills in the other forms of communication. Written specifically, being very intentional with my verbal communication, and being very intentional with my visual communication because I need that point to get across. And for you, if you're running into those brick walls, maybe assess the people that you're the recipient of the information, the person that's listening, or the person that's receiving that information from you. What is their best form of communication? Because if you're hitting those brick walls, if it's not working, then it's probably you and maybe not them. I don't know. Hey, it's Monday. Get out there and have a great week.